You want to know about the future? I will tell you what I see. The other day I had a vision of the future more vivid and a dream. People don't work, robots work. People sell, distribute, wheel and deal. Free agents perform. Entertainment companies keep everybody busy, either producing or watching exciting simulated realities. Scientists and engineers are big. Since they are free agents, they sign up with commercial teams or, in some cases, are enslaved via neurological implants.
Hello everybody, this is Brother and Pastor Craig from SDRministries.org, and you've got our YouTube channel, and today I've got another video for you.
There's nowhere in the Constitution says you can only use one right at a time.
No, constitutionally, what's the issue? He just happens to be hanging out. What about shall not be infringed? You do not understand.
We're only talking about the state laws here.
I don't give a damn about your state laws.
Yeah, it's the Constitution, man.
That's fine. That's fine. Hey, if that's how you feel.
You swore no to the Constitution. Are you going to uphold it?
That's how you feel.
That is how I feel.
All right. No problem at all.
Not just me. Millions of us.
Okay.
I really resent my government telling me what I have to do, especially when it's based on dodgy scientific data. There are thousands of eminent scientists and doctors around the world that are telling us that this is a fraud. We are being conned. We are being conned by governments of all colours around the world. That's why I'm here.
Putting my trousers down! He's putting my trousers down! He's putting my trousers down!
Vamos vencer! A gente, meu pai, aqui nem aqueles 300 de Gideão aqui! Nós não vamos recuar! Nós somos Deus! Nós não vamos recuar diante de doença nenhuma! Se nós vamos nos prostrar, é diante de um único Deus chamado Jesus Cristo! Nós somos que nem Gideão, meu pai! Nós somos que nem Sadraque, Mesaque e Abednego! O Senhor não livrou ele da fornalha, mas livrou do fogo! E todos verão que existe um Deus nessa terra! Aleluia!
I don't give a damn about the Constitution.
That's fine. Hey, if that's how you feel.
You swore no to the Constitution. Are you going to uphold it?
That's how you feel.
That is how I feel.
All right. No problem at all.
Not just me. Millions of us.
Okay.
Let me put it very clearly. You have no constitutional right to endanger the public and spread the disease, even if you disagree. You have no right not to be vaccinated. You have no right not to wear a mask. You have no right to open up your business.
Wait, can I stop you?
Yeah.
No right not to be vaccinated, meaning if they decide you have to be vaccinated, we have to be vaccinated?
Absolutely, and if you refuse to be vaccinated, the state has the power to literally take you to a doctor's office and plunge a needle into your arm. If the vaccination...
Where is that in the Constitution?
Just today, Dr. Fauci, who is the head of the NIAID, which is the National Institute for Allergy and Infectious Diseases, he's also on the White House Coronavirus Task Force and on the Leadership Council of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation's for Decades of Vaccine Initiative, stated that the vaccines may actually make the disease worse. I mean, this has been documented in the past, okay? So there is always that possibility, and even, Fauci himself is admitting this in testimony.
You have no right to refuse to be vaccinated against a contagious disease. Public health, the police power of the Constitution, gives the state the power to compel that, and there are cases in the United States Supreme Court. And plunge a needle into your arm.
Many of you know that the WHO has threatened to remove family members from homes,
and that Dr. Michael Ryan, the executive director of the World Health Organization, recently explained to the world that due to the coronavirus health pandemic, governments around the world would need to start knocking on doors of households and removing family members by force and isolating them. This is child theft. This is family theft. This is chaos. And we're going to talk about how this was done back in history in a little bit here. But a comment about that and a quote, now we need to go and look in on families to find those people who may be sick and remove them and isolate them. So, pursuant to the WHO, which again is not a purveyor of health, it is an organization run by the controlling top 1% of the 1%. Pursuant to the WHO, Oregon Department of Health is to remove children from a home if a parent is infected with coronavirus. And this is on behalf of the World Health Organization, the WHO. And what they're saying is that the executive director, again, Michael Ryan, and he's in Oregon, he's slated to remove children from homes and place them in substitute care when parents are deemed unable to support them. This is child theft. This is how they're doing it. They're harvesting our children.
I'll admit it. I will eat my neighbors. I'm not letting my kids die. I'm just going to be honest. My superpower is being honest. I've extrapolated this out, and I won't have to for a few years since I got food and stuff, but I'm literally looking at my neighbors now and going, I'm ready to hang them up and gut them and skin them and chop them up. And you know what? I'm ready. My daughters aren't starving to death. I'll eat my neighbors. See, my superpower is being honest. I'll eat your ass. I will. I'm combat model, optimum self-sufficiency, probably the leader. The point is have you thought about that yet? Because I'm somebody that thought I could fix this, and I'm starting to think about having to eat my neighbors. You think I like sizing up my neighbor, how I'm going to haul him up by a chain and chop his ass up? I'll do it. My children aren't going hungry. I will eat your ass. And that's why I want the globalists to know. I will eat your ass first. You're not. We're going to dig you out of those bunkers. We're going to dig you out of those holes. You make us eat up. Let me tell you something right now. I swear to God, if it's the last thing I do, I'm going to get my hands around your throat. And you know that's why you're begging for peace right now. You should have thought about that when you turned down Christ a long time ago. You want to meet with me, you Satanist? Meet with me? How about you get on your knees to Christ? You'd meet with my boss right now. I will eat you. So all you spirit cookers act all tough all day, how you're doing your little satanic rituals, drinking blood and stuff. I'll drink your blood. You understand that? I will hang your ass up and cut you into cutlets like a filet mignon and grill your ass before I watch my daughters starve to death.
I mean, do you see that, guys, where this man, this Jesuit coadjutor, is talking about eating his own neighbors? If he was a true biblical Christian, like the Vatican pretends to be, as this man is serving the Vatican to agitate this world into predictive programming them to go and eat your neighbors. They are serving this out there to the public because this is what they're going to do to those who will not comply with their New World Order system. If this man, this Jesuit coadjutor, would read his Bible, he would see that in the Old Testament, God provided food and water for his children in a time of need, like he did with the Israelites in the wilderness, which of course they complained during that time.
And they sinned yet more against him by provoking the Most High in the wilderness. And they tempted God in their heart by asking meat for their lust. Yea, they spake against God. They said, Can God furnish a table in the wilderness? Behold, he smote the rock that the waters gushed out and the streams overflowed. Can he give bread also? Can he provide flesh for his people? Therefore the Lord heard this and was wroth. So a fire was kindled against Jacob, and anger also came up against Israel, because they believed not in God and trusted not in his salvation, though he had commanded the clouds from above and opened the doors of heaven and had rained down manna upon them to eat and had given them of the corn of heaven. Man did eat angels' food. He sent them meat to the full. He caused an east wind to blow in the heaven, and by his power he brought in the south wind. He rained flesh also upon them as dust, and feathered fowls like as the sand of the sea. And he let it fall in the midst of their camp, round about their habitations. So they did eat, and were well filled, for he gave them their own desire. They were not estranged from their lust. But while their meat was yet in their mouths, the wrath of God came upon them, and slew the fattest of them, and smote down the chosen men of Israel. For all this they sinned still, and believed not for his wondrous works. Therefore their days did he consume in vanity, and their years in trouble.
And as we know, brethren, we have a time, a buy and sell time, and a system that's coming to try to force us against our will to worship the beast in his image. And if we don't comply, they are going to say, you are not going to buy, you're not going to sell, you're not going to participate in this world's economy, and you're not going to have any food, bread, water, anything, unless you bow down and worship this system.
Then was Jesus led up of the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterward an hungered. And when the tempter came to him, he said, If thou be the Son of God, command that these stones be made bread. But he answered and said, It is written, Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. Again the devil taketh him up into an exceeding high mountain, and showeth him all the kingdoms of the world, and the glory of them, and saith unto him, All these things will I give thee, if thou wilt fall down and worship me. And he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus and for the word of God, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands.
So, brethren, when you look at this Vatican beast and what is going on in the world today, and the fruits and the nature of their desires to hurt and to kill and to eat our own neighbors, you can see how this beast system, this globalized Vatican system that is coming into play to try to force everyone to worship the beast in his image, we have got to get ready for these end times very quickly. Because as you can see with this Jesuit coadjutor Alex Jones, that there is something very evil brewing in this world, which is getting ready to bring upon this world the hour of temptation and the hour of the mark of the beast, when they enforce their globalized system on every single person in this world to either worship the beast in his image.
And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation.
Or to receive the seal of God in worshiping him on the seventh-day Sabbath, which he ordained, sanctified, blessed, and hallowed.
Remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. And he said unto them, The Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath. Therefore the Son of Man is Lord also of the Sabbath.
And if we're going to be the servants of the Most High God, we've got to follow the Lamb wherever he goes. We've got to obey his commandments. If we do not obey his commandments, then we are proving with our life sermon that we are not connected with the true vine. So today is the day that we must work out our salvation and prepare for the end, because it is coming very fast.
And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to give every man according as his work shall be.
Because as we can see, this world is being tossed into a storm, a whirlwind of trouble through the COVID-19, which is bringing about this global whole system empire. And they're trying to shut up the truth as much as possible. So please, brethren, study, get prepared, overcome this world, become like Christ, obey your master, prove who you profess to be, and get ready for the storm that is gathering in the distance. Until next time, we love you, and we pray for all of you that you will stand in the great time and the great test that is coming to try everyone that dwells on this earth. Bye-bye.
H.R. 666 was sponsored by 44 Democrats and 1 Republican from New Jersey. Unbelievable. Anyway, H.R. 666 is to authorize the Secretary of Health and Human Services to award grants to eligible entities to conduct diagnostic testing for COVID-19 and related activities such as contact tracing, which means identifying who has a fever and removing them from your house and putting them in a FEMA camp. Good luck, you've just sentenced them to death. Contact tracing through mobile health units, so they're going to come to your home, stick a 6 to 8 inch thing up your nose and swab it around the back of your brain and inoculate you with their vaccination. Through mobile health units, Zig Heil, and necessary at individuals' residence, and for other purposes, for purposes that will be determined later, Zig Heil. Okay, what is contact tracing? Well, Bill Gates funds the World Health Organization with our taxpayers' money we gave to Microsoft for building military equipment. Aren't we such nice taxpayers? Now, Bill Gates is a moron, and he reads speeches that he's told to do. So contact tracing is when they go in and they find out who's sick and they remove them from the family. Now, where do they put them? Well, we have over 800 FEMA camps. Where do you think they're going to go? And those gates only work one way. once you're in, you're dead. Zig Heil. That's what Adolf Hitler did to the Jews and the blacks and the Soviet prisoners, the American prisoners, the German prisoners, the French prisoners, the Polish prisoners, the Austrian prisoners. Only now it's going to be done to Americans. You will be put in FEMA camps. If they have a machine that says you have a fever, they will move in with SWAT teams and remove you. This is HR 666, paid for and sponsored by Bill Gates.
Now remember, contact tracing is just a euphemism for Constitution trampling. They're going to come to your house to take away your rights to keep you safe, because we got to do this contact tracing and we got to do all this testing because we have to save people from CV-19 through mobile health units and as necessary at individuals' residences and for other purposes. This act may be cited as the CV-19 testing, get this, reaching and contacting everyone act, called the Trace Act.
I can't do it anymore, Marcus. I can't. I'm gonna die. I'm too young to die.
This is our life now. This is our life now, okay? We're gonna go on. It's gonna be fine.
I can't go on, Marcus. I can't do this. I'm gonna die.
Why are you shaking my hand?
I gotta run. I can't go to jail. I can't go to jail, Marcus. I can't. Oh God, they're coming. They're coming.
Shut up. Shut up.
Oh no! No!
Hey, there we go. There we go. With your hands on your head, with flat on the ground, not attempt to run.
Oh, hey, Ted. Oh, hey, Marcus. How are you?
Good. We out for a little run?
Hey, yeah, just did 7. Might do another 7, you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't want to hold you up. Hey, let's grab dinner sometime.
I would love that.
All right.
You, me,
Good
Karen.
seeing you. Absolutely. I mean...
What's your emergency?
Hi, yeah. I got a couple handshakers right in front of me.
Okay, sir, are they still in the vicinity?
Yeah, I'm staring at them right now.
Run.
A mobile health unit could be the police. We don't even know. They can drive to your house and make sure you don't leave. As necessary, testing individuals and providing individuals with services related to testing and quarantine at their residences. Services related to quarantine is possibly military to keep you in your house. If you are tested, everybody in your house has to be tested. The priority in selecting grant recipients will be applicants proposing to conduct activities funded under this section in hot spots and medically underserved communities. Now, where do you think that is? Yeah, it's going to be in the minority communities. They're not even going to go into the higher income communities. Applicants that agree in hiring individuals to carry out activities funded under this section to hire residents of the area or community where the activities will primarily occur with higher priority among applicants described in this paragraph, given based on the percentage of individuals to be hired from such area community. So they're going to use your people in your community to come and get you. So if you've been telling people, your neighbors, hey, I don't feel good or whatever, that neighbor, if they need money and they get hired by these people, they're going to come to your house.
I'm grabbing her from the elevator.
Dr. Dean Xeris took us inside this COVID hotel for the most vulnerable.
Hola, Wendy.
Wendy Rosales found out over the phone last week she was exposed to COVID-19. After testing positive, she's now quarantined for 14 days. Krista Cass is a contact tracer working from her Boston apartment.
Start thinking about what you were doing 2 days before.
She calls at least 20 people a day who recently tested positive for COVID-19, and then anyone they may have exposed. Massachusetts has invested $44 million in disease detectives who will reach at least 120,000 close contacts, all of it critical to bending the curve.
This is such a vast spider web of contacts.
This data that will be transferring between phones will now be encrypted. What more do we know about how this is actually going to work?
The clamor to improved contact tracing has seen nations like Israel, Singapore, South Korea, and of course China using a combination of location data, video camera footage, and credit card information to track and contain COVID-19 in their countries.
We're prepared and we're doing a great job with it, and it will go away. Just stay calm, it will go away.
The US has lagged behind, but Google and Apple are feverishly building a contact tracing platform scheduled for release in mid-May. It will enable the use of Bluetooth technology to help governments and health agencies reduce the spread of the virus by tracing people who have come into close contact with COVID-19. But how exactly this information will be used in the future and with whom is an open question.
We're kind of at this fascinating moment, right, where we don't know exactly what the response is going to look like. We know that robust contact tracing is going to be a huge part of reopening the economy. And we know that we have to balance that with privacy concerns somehow, but we don't know exactly what the balance is going to look like. And I leave it up to the epidemiologists to say whether you need to be as repressive as China, or if there are ways to protect privacy. We might not have a ton of time to debate it.
And that's kind of the problem. There are currently few legal protections from data misuse or abuse. And while some states do have some laws in place, progress on this front has been halted.
There was some privacy momentum in Congress before the pandemic hit, and that's been destroyed for obvious reasons.
California passed a privacy law a couple of years ago, and there's been a lot of work to try to improve it as it goes into effect this year. A bunch of other states had been considering privacy legislation as well, like Washington State and New York. And then COVID comes, and a lot of the state legislatures have just pretty much shut down.
Now, before you envision a Black Mirror episode for your personal future, you should know that as of now, involvement will be voluntary. The data it collects is to be anonymized, and there will be no central server where the data is stored, so governments or corporations can't directly grab all this private data for its own purposes. But that could easily change.
But there's nothing really to stop them from having a centralized database. It's only kind of the restraint of our expectations. If our expectations were to become overturned and again shift tremendously over to safety, it could become a lot more Orwellian a lot quicker.
There's many scenarios that could be quite troubling. Your information could be given to insurance companies, and it could be used as a pre-existing condition that prevents you from getting insurance, or as a reason to charge you much higher prices. The information could be sold to data brokers who could then package it to anyone that they want. The information could end up with your employer, who could use it to make decisions about whether to promote you because of your health.
Now, that may sound a little paranoid, but we have good reason to be suspicious.
These are entities that already collect enormous amounts of our data in a commercial context, and whose mishandling of data has come under fire in the past.
Exhibit A.
Cambridge Analytica.
Cambridge Analytica?
Cambridge Analytica. We just traded away like everything there is to know about ourselves, for Farmville. And I think that people are starting to realize that wasn't a good trade.
In 2016, the big data company Cambridge Analytica took the personal data of millions of Americans from Facebook. They packaged it and sold it so that political groups could then target parts of the population with narrow-casted messages.
People were sharing information with friends, and they weren't necessarily expecting that data to be shared by a company like Cambridge Analytica that was making use of it to build political profiles and then serve specific advertisements or propaganda.
Cambridge Analytica really captures the dilemma of privacy, which is, how data collected for one reason with certain expectations is used for another reason.
We have been giving away all of our most private information to companies that have then sold it on and created what is now a multi-trillion-dollar-a-year industry.
This was business as usual as far as Facebook developers went.
This scandal resulted in the Federal Trade Commission's fining of Facebook for $5 billion, as well as a general push for broader privacy laws.
We didn't take a broad enough view of our responsibility, and that was a big mistake. And it was my mistake, and I'm sorry.
What you're seeing is a greater bipartisan concern about the power of these dataopolies and how do we rein them in.
So how do we know this isn't going to happen this time? The answer comes back to those privacy protection laws that have been put on hold because of the pandemic.
If there had been a national privacy law enacted before the pandemic hit us, we probably would have been in a better position to respond to it with data.
But even if there was a national privacy law in place, contact tracing is actually pointless if we don't have widespread testing to go along with it, which we don't.
So what is this about? Is this a smokescreen for collecting a lot of data?
One key aspect of fighting the spread of the virus is tracking down those who've had contact with someone who's infected. News Channel reporter Cesare De Los Santos spoke with Ventura County health experts about plans to beef up what's known as contact tracing.
Contact tracing is not a new effort for Ventura County. The health department has been doing it since the virus broke out, but now public health is expanding its efforts in a major way.
We want to make sure when we're calling them, it's only supportive, it's only to help them.
Ventura County Public Health is in the process of training 60 new contact tracers. That's triple the number from just a month ago.
I believe one public health nurse with 10 contact tracers, and so they're going to work together as a team to make sure that each positive COVID case in Ventura County has the contact tracing staff to work with them.
Every time there's a positive COVID-19 lab test, it's reported directly to the Ventura County Public Health Department.
Public health nurse interview each positive lab case, confirmed case, and during that interview, we will find out who lives in the house. We will find out if they're working. We will ask them if they've been out.
The contact tracers will then get in contact with anyone who has been exposed. Then they will ask them to monitor themselves, checking their temperature twice a day. Contact investigators reach out in several ways, including calling and making home visits.
If it's someone that is refusing, we will definitely consult with our health officer to look into next steps.
The person who originally tested positive stays in isolation for 14 days. Ventura County will provide a free hotel room and meals if patients can't easily isolate.
Or if we determine that there might be a high-risk family member, such as a senior, we have a special housing program that we can offer them.
First they came for the communists, and I did not speak out, because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out, because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out, because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out, because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me.